Hello, welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. We're recording this the day after Everton were robbed in a Merseyside derby. Robbed, I tell you, having escaped a red card early on. Joined by Sam and Dave. It's a full house. Lads, disappointing result. I can't make a case for Everton deserving to win the game. Disappointing result. First defeat in 10. What were your takeaways from it? Sam or Dave?
I've never felt this upbeat after a defeat at Anfield. Not because we played particularly well. I thought the first half they were there for the taking in the first half. I thought, but I'm just trying to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and think about where we were and where we are. And I honestly think if last night, because we're looking at like upgrades over the close season, aren't we? In the summer, little upgrades here and there, not like massive changes, but just we can upgrade a couple of key positions. And I honestly think if last night we had a player who was 20% better than Decore instead of Decore, and a player who was 5% better than Jack Harrison instead of Jack Harrison, there was a couple of moments, as to take away all the chances and the disallowed goal and better hitting the post and stuff, but there was a couple of moments where we had breaks, and it was reminiscent of that Man City break, wasn't it, where I'm looking at them and I'm thinking it's Decore and Harrison, and I'm thinking they're not going to link up, they're not going to make the right decision, this isn't going to be converted, and just little things like that across a season could have a massive impact. So it just gave me a lot more hope about the kind of upgrade we can make in the summer. It don't have to be massive, just small across the board can have a massive impact. But can I just tell you about my experience of watching the match? It was a very, very unusual experience. I had a gig in Tadcaster, that entertainment capital that we all strive to get to as a performer.
It's a new town, isn't it?
Yeah, I was right next to the John Smith's brewery. Other bitters are available. Let's not make it joke.
Tadcaster, then.
That's true. Yeah. So I found a pub, and this pub I'd never been to before, and it was a proper moody pub, and there was about 6 other fellas in there, and they had the footy on, but the footy had the sound down. So no one was really bothered who ran the pub, what was going on. So I just found a little corner.
That's worse than not having it on at all, I think.
So they had music on instead. So the music was on.
You either have it on or you don't have it on.
Yeah. And I exactly, that's what I say to my wife on our anniversary. You either have it off or you have it on. That's it.
That's it.
So I was like trying to just keep my head down. There was other fellas in there. I thought, are they Reds, are they Blues? I don't know, but I'm going to keep my head down. The music's on and I'm quite quiet, and there's a couple of little moments. Obviously, Beto was that goal disallowed, and I sort of kept me powder dry. But when Van Dijk, the best player in the world ever, did that mad Sunday League, being on the ale the night before, spoon through the ball, and Beto races through, do you know what song was playing? James Blunt, You're Beautiful was playing. And I was thinking, this is going to be the most perfect moment. And then he hits the post, and that was the moment I gave me disguise. I was like, And I realised they were all Reds. They was quite annoyed.
Of course they were.
But there was another moment as well where Crimea River by Justin Timberlake was on, but it was when Jota was kicking off about that throw-in that was given against him, even though he just scored. And I thought, if we weren't losing 1-0 right now and he was getting fuming with that, this song would be perfect. But I'd forgotten how, if you don't verbalise your anxiety during a game and you sat still and you're not speaking to anyone and the commentary's not on, it just has these weird, like, it manifests in all these. I was like literally shaking, my arms and legs were shaking just because I couldn't speak to anyone. So that was my experience. But overall, disappointed, but not devastated.
It's a shame that James Blunt wasn't playing when Jota was kicking off, because in terms of rhyming slang, it would have been quite apt. But anyway, I agree with much of what you've said. I think that to sum it up and oversimplify it, I think it was good to see us compete, and that was the main thing. And it ties in with what you were saying, Sam, because I just think that how much things have improved to have had that performance at Anfield. Yes, Tarkowski should have gone. It was disappointing, obviously, Beto just offside, then hits the post. Obviously, their goal was offside. But I think the fact that we competed all the way through just shows how different things are now to how they were a year or so ago. And for that, that That's encouraging. And as you say, with some sensible additions in the summer, some upgrades in various, and we're not going to end up with a whole new team, but some good upgrades, then I think the future looks bright. And like you, I'm not too despondent. I'm disappointed with last night, but I'm certainly not, on the floor or anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair comment. I'm disappointed because they were rubbish. That's all. I genuinely am disappointed because of that. I'm disappointed because they look so edgy in the first half and the crowd looks so nervous. I mean, they had to pipe in fake music, for God's sake. I mean, that's the disappointment to me. It's just that we never took if we took our chances when they come, which, had to be in the first half, then who knows? And second half, I just didn't really think we turned up. I think they tightened what they needed to tighten up on. They were do anything though, did they? They were looking for a 1-0. They were looking for to just win the game. You could see that at the end. It was just massive relief at the end. It wasn't about winning a Merseyside derby. It was about winning a game of football for them to edge them closer to the league. And that's and also like the second half, the subs didn't make any kind of difference at all. And that's what annoyed me more than anything. It's like just those little, like you've both said there, those fine margins of like little things when we broke and the pass was like either underhit or overhit, and you're just like, oh my God.
One with Josh Harrison with his right foot.
Yeah, it's like, so that's the disappointment, is that was an opportunity for us with there being no pressure on us to go there and do something a little bit. And like you said there, if Beto puts that one in, then things could have got very, very nervy for them.
My margins though, isn't it? He's a millimetre. Well, I hadn't seen the lines, but apparently he's a millimetre.
Oh, for the offside, he's a millimetre. And I had the sound like Sam was saying, I had the sound really low for the game. I can't.
You listening to James Blunt as well?
I just couldn't bear to listen to the commentators, and I couldn't bear to listen to the crowd. Every and all the fakeness. So I had it quite low. So I didn't even realise at first that he was offside. But I should have known that.
Brilliantly, like it was a great thing. I mean, Van Dijk out-muscling, but I mean, he did. People give Beto stick, but he made their two centre backs look like Sunday League footballers. Van Dijk has been unbelievable, and obviously still a good defender. But I am looking at him now, thinking you are showing signs of a lad who is coming to the end of his career and is starting to pass everybody onto his centre back partner and blaming him if he doesn't clear it up, because he's pointing and passing them on. And yet he was at fault for the two chance, which should have been, well, could have been 2 Everton goals last night. The second one, the Alo swipe was embarrassing. And again, it's millimetres, isn't it? Beto, with a millimetre over it, it's the inside of the post and goes in, and the offside's a millimetre, and it could have been 2-0. Tarkowski should have been sent off. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I said on my match reaction, it was a Jamie Carragher on Stephen Pienaar tackle after 10 seconds in the Merseyside derby once. Just didn't even get a booking. The same tackle, won the ball, left the studs in. But you can't do that anymore, and we were a bit lucky there. But they necessary, wasn't it, that foul? Yeah. He's done that foul so many times, and he can clear the ball without. Maybe he needs to go to ground, but he doesn't need to go to ground in that manner.
No, he knows what he's doing.
To leave something on him.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing, isn't he? But for me, it's like, and we have seen him do that a few times. That's why it annoys me, is that we've seen him do it a few times, and I've seen people defend him out of derby and all that. It's like, it doesn't really matter if it's a derby. If he gets sent off and we're down to 10 men and then we've got to play missing for 3 matches, that's our loss, isn't it? They're not bothered. What all this stuff. We were literally talking about this yesterday. All this faux hard man stuff. All this Foons Mori and all that. It doesn't wash anymore. It just doesn't wash in this era of football. No. And you can just go, that's a derby for you. It's like, yeah, it might be a derby 25, 30, and then obviously past that years ago, but it's not football now. And he could go through him there and sort of use the weight of his body to take him out, but it's the fact that he leaves his studs into his shin. He could easily just use his body weight to take him out. No one would say anything, but it's just the fact that the studs go into the shin that leaves it open.
If McAllister would have, it's not his fault, he's just on the end of the tackle, but if his legs aren't where they are, and Tarkowski
attached to his body.
No, it's because what I mean is you see players.
He's a leg.
Yeah. You see players who expect it and jump a little bit, and therefore Tarkowski would have followed through. No one would have said the word because he got the ball, and McAllister would have just jumped up, so it would have carried on. But the fact is, it was not a good tackle, and we were lucky because we did, 18 minutes with 10 men. It would have been ridiculous. But you're right, the first half was
was Everton's opportunity. Liverpool done very little. For me, they done very little.
Yeah.
I've seen them twice now in 7 weeks, whatever it is, and I haven't. It sounds ridiculous because they're going to win the league, but full Shania Twain, they don't impress me much. They're like a Jose Mourinho, functional. They're a functional, very good functional side. They were, for me, as a football...
I wish there was a jukebox in the place I was watching the footy last night, because I would have put that song on.
That would have been a little playlist. That would have been good. You know what I mean? When I won the Klopp with Mane and Firmino and Salah, they were terrifying. It was like watch the game through your fingers almost, because they were just all over you, and it was like you were on the edge of your seat all the time, panicking. Whereas last night, don't get me wrong, Liverpool deserved to win. They were the better side. They were comfortable, but Jordan Pickford had very little to do. He made a save he should make from Gravenberch, which he parried away. And I think he made one with his feet, didn't he? But I think it was offside anyway, but he blocked it with his foot. That was it. Yeah.
What was going on there?
That was mad, that. And then Nunes got booked. For rolling back. That was
again. That's another one we have touched a little bit lucky there.
What's he doing? Like, what's he doing? Even if he didn't, like, it wasn't. Even if he did, it was a penalty. Yeah. So what do you do? A bit mad, but just to that they're like the mad bits out the way. To reiterate it, I think what it did last night, and I said this, I'm not today. Listen, I've come into our studio and they've all greeted me when I come in, as they do.
What, like a tunnel of...
Want to have a chat. Yeah, it was like a guard of honour. Yeah. They all wanted it. What did you think? What did you... But, I'm just like, yeah, there was no pressure on it. It was probably the calmest I've ever been watching a Merseyside derby. I still fancy... When we got a couple of corners in injury time, I did fancy us to score, even though we'd done nothing. I was thinking, be funny if we...
Charlie Adams, a sleeper agent. That's all I'm saying.
It was terrible.
Oh my God!
The way that Newcastle pummeled them with Dan Burn, and we've got Jacob Brien, who's almost as big as him, and the corners were awful.
They were dreadful.
I think that, like, as I'm with you, I'm quite calm about the whole thing, like I said at the start. But I suppose just like nudge back to what Peds was saying about being disappointed about because they were there for the taking. I suppose it's, for me, internally, it's the context of playing Liverpool. Had that been any other team, whether the top of the league or not, on the basis of that performance, especially the first half performance, you'd be like really disappointed to lose that game, or not win the game. Because it's Liverpool, I've got so many horrible memories of going to that place, Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain. I don't know which one we call it, but it's the context of it means I'm okay. But I mean, if I'm Arsenal, I'm looking at Liverpool now and I'm going, how have we let them get away with this league? How have we let them run away with it? Because they're there for the taking. They really are. And they've had a great start to the season, but they looked out of ideas last night at times. And I think there was a moment in the second half when Mikalenko went down injured, when the ball hit his ankle.
Yeah.
And it's weird, isn't it? Because I was like, oh no, not Mikalenko. Because he plays really well against Salah, and once again, he had a good game.
Also, what the alternative is putting Ashley Young there.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
But I think for me, what it did was it just highlighted the deficiencies where they are. Liverpool are a better team. Of course they are. They're going to win the league and deserve a champions because they're so consistent and all that. But from our perspective, we played them twice in a few weeks. It's been tight games, both of them. We should have won at Goodison. They won last night and deserved to win last night. And there hasn't been that much between it. And I think it shows you touched on it earlier, Sam, with Decore and with Harrison. There's a little bit of quality. We need that bit of pace on the break. We had a couple of really... And I think what it showed last night as well is Alcaraz has to play now every game and take Decore to the side. Because when we break with Alcaraz, he just carries the ball and he's so comfortable in what he's doing. He skips beyond players. No, Decore's been a good signing for Everton, but he just wasn't in that game at all last night. He'd done absolutely nothing. And I was amazed David Moyes sort of left them on for so long. It really, really surprised me, that. But you're having a look and think the player on the right-hand side with real pace and a little bit of quality there. Maybe a better centre-forward who can keep it a little bit. That we haven't got one in the club. So the options aren't in the club for that unless Chimiti can develop into that. But you've got to get another one in there. And then, maybe something And Jai just was just on for some minutes, I think, wasn't he? Because he done 0 when he come on. But maybe a midfield player as well who can put his foot on the ball a little bit. And I think they're the areas I'm looking at and thinking if we can get upgrades in there, and again a left back as well who attacks Michalenko, I give him.
I think you've just named an entire.
I haven't, like
bar the defence.
4 players.
Bar the defence.
4 players. And Everton are going to expect it to sign.
I think we need to buy players who can keep the ball. That's the number one thing, isn't it? Like the ball retention last night in the second half was woeful. Like we need upgrades all over the pitch. Don't we? We need a bit of quality, regardless of who you're playing against. But again, especially when you're playing against better teams, you need to be able to keep the ball, don't you? And the ball retention, like James Garner last night, ball retention was so poor. Like it was like something like 69%. It was just like it's got to be better in those games.
That against top.
No, you can't. You've got to be able to keep the ball and. Yeah, well, listen, and making chances is the big thing, isn't it? We've gone their first half and it's just been pure chaos, hasn't it? We've made it chaotic, and they've calmed it down second half, and that's where we are right now. We have to just hope that we can get the 2 or 3 major signings in, and then add on to it.
I've seen some people who are like, sitting like the comments and that, just like, oh. This typical and all that. And you're like, what? But like, really? If you just step back, it's just like, what do you expect of this team at the moment? Because this team was 1 point above relegation in January. And it's just gone to Anfield and had Beto, like you said, millimetres. Do you know what I mean? Everton could have been 2-0 up at half time and ground out a win there at Anfield with these players. Now, okay, they've lost the game. Fair enough, that happens. First time we haven't scored in 10. Okay. We had the ball in the net. Again, it's a fraction. But, like, there's got to be that little thing where you have to step back a little bit as well and go, these are still sort of the same players as well.
Yeah.
And we've just got our most creative player back, albeit he's not ready yet, but he got half an hour last night. So that'll do him good. The manager might think he's ready to start Saturday, we don't know. But he was back on the pitch. Schmitty and Brozier got a few more minutes getting back on. We can't lose sight of where we are. It's not like we're a really good, creative, brilliant side and we've gone to Liverpool and just haven't turned up, which we've seen many times, by the way. And we all have seen much better Everton sides go to Anfield and not even threaten. And never look like they've even got a goal in them. I don't think that was really the case last night. Certainly second half it was. Though we were poor second half. But also, we've been to Anfield and been hanging on.
Yeah.
And get out with a 1-0 defeat or something and go, well, could have been 5 or 6. That last night couldn't have been. And that's a team that's going to win the league in a couple of weeks. So, I mean, what do you think, lads? Agree with that or different?
Yeah. And I think, tying into that, the relevance of it is the fact that, we sit here, and to your point, Baz, it's the fact that we sit here kind of going, oh, we're safe and it's all comfortable. But the reality is, and we can't forget that this league is so poor this season that actually what that's done is it's maybe given us not a false sense of security, but what I mean is that sense of security has come quicker. What am I trying to say?
Than we all expected, maybe?
Yeah, I guess so. And again, it sort of ties in with what you were saying there, because essentially this is the same team. This is the same team that struggled for most of the season. And there hasn't suddenly been, new players come in and a whole new thing. Ultimately, Moyes has galvanised what we've got. And actually he's ground out results. But ultimately, the fundamental reason why we're safe now is more to do with the how poor the bottom 3 have been. Was that I saw on Match of the Day last night, whereby this is the lowest scoring cumulative bottom 3 ever. So the 3 of them have got 47 points. Right? Which, there was a table up there of, the other ones in the past. I think they were sort of 50s and stuff like that. So, that we can't lose sight of the fact that they have been really, really poor. And obviously that has created the safety gap that we now enjoy now for the most part, because on 34 points, we could still have people, buying our eels.
Oh, yeah, but you're right, Dave, you're right. But the other thing I would say to that, because I've seen a couple of people last night and like a couple of people messaging me all nervous now because Ipswich have won. I'm like, Ipswich are 14 points behind Everton with 8 games to play. They ain't getting they're not winning 8 hardy and they could get 24. They're not winning 7, not a chance. They're not even winning 6. So therefore, they might get 15 points. So we say in Everton aren't getting a single point in the next 8. And that's what you've got to remember. It wasn't the last game of the season. Everton, I fancy Everton to win on Saturday, if I'm being perfectly honest. So it's one of them, isn't it? You look and go, okay, we have to improve. Ped, I mean, that's where the money or the concentration needs to go. And this summer, certainly in that final third, but you're right as well, a midfield player who can keep the football for us, who's got that little bit of quality, because we've got a lot of players who are very similar, haven't we? I mean, Erabunum, when he come on, showed some of the quality sometimes in being able to run with the ball and keep it. But you're right, the core, James Garner, Adrisha looked like he was man-to-man on Salah in the first half. So I don't know what that was about, but we definitely need that lad in midfield who can get hold of it.
Peter Reid still?
Well, exactly, yeah.
Can we replace him with Peter Reid?
We're good at that. So, I mean, that's where we have to look, isn't it?
No, listen, it's all at the top end of the pitch. We sort of, without Beto's goals, we sort of reverted back to what we were a little bit. Yeah. We're not really scoring goals, are we? We've scored like ones, isn't it, really? So, we're still not creating many chances. Jack Harrison, Jack Harrison is definitely not signing for Everton next season. There can't be anywhere where he's got enough quality to sign for Everton.
And you know what? The ponytail last night was the death knell for me as well.
Yeah, we don't tolerate that. Yeah, it's one step away from a neck tattoo, isn't it?
Regardless of his passing, which was woeful last night, But I think as soon as and we've talked about his hair a lot on this podcast.
Well, that's it. Is he listening?
Now that he's decided to tie it in a ponytail that was about an inch long.
Yeah.
You know what? If anybody had any doubts beforehand, that was it, done.
I think
what he listened to the last episode, was it? He was listening to the last episode. Yeah, that's why he's gone. Oh, I better make my hair look different. But yeah, he's
I think he's just trying to rediscover his Leeds, because if you look at him at Leeds when he got the 8-7,
the whole team,
are top notch, top notch FC.
A lot of them,
arms, tattoo sleeves. As I said, it's one step away from having a neck tattoo, and they all look like the bad guys in John Wick, who all last about 5 seconds.
He's Van Dijk for me. Looks like a baddie from Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah, diplomatic immunity.
Look at him there. He looks like one of the henchmen who hanging.
He does have that little feel of him.
Hanging out the back.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Mel Gibson. Yeah.
And he'd look good with the suit on, wouldn't he? The henchman with the suit, wouldn't he? So fair play.
No, but that's it. We just need quality, don't we? We need to bring in some quality on the right, and we need a centre forward, but we could do with that midfielder, because it just somewhat. I watched Garner last night, and I've said before about Garner he'll never play for a bigger club than Everton. He'll never have a better chance. James Garner. It's a Garner game. You don't even talk about it. It's a Garner game. He's on a different level. James, I listened to what he said last week in that podcast, and just think, how stupid are you to say something like that? That I just think little things like that.
What did he say?
He said basically when he played for Anfield for Everton, because he'd been a Red, he'd got like nervous when he heard the crowd.
Song.
And I was just like, why? And he said this on a Man United podcast. Like, what are you doing? Like, and I'm not one of them, get rid of him. Just thinking, that's a mentality that you should not have, or you certainly should not be talking about in public. No. That you have that mentality, those little cracks in your mentality, people just get in them really easy. It's the first thing I always think about footballers is like, it's not how good.
We're still talking about John Wick here.
No, we've left John Wick behind. You don't open up your weaknesses to everybody to look at. And I watched him last night. Number one, what's he doing on the edge of the box, giving the ball away? And it's like I'm not having a dig at him. Like specifically, what I'm saying is like that's an area of pitch we need a massive upgrade, because if he isn't going to step up and start controlling games, then he needs to be replaced. Whether that's the way we change the shape and we have a little bit more someone who can get up and down, and because every decent team now, you look at Newcastle, you look at their strength, even though they've got Isaac up front, but that midfield is so strong. Yes. All three of them can get up and down all game. And
then they have someone like Longstaff who can come.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? We're like, I know I'm not, again, they spend a lot of money, but what I'm saying is like, if you want to be a good team, the way Villa have gone out and spent money in all those, it's strengthen those, it not just go, we'll just put someone in there who can do a job. And that's when we're talking like the Coreys of the world and going, well, he can play as a number 10, but he can, in some games he'll drop in, but the lad can't control the ball and can't progress up the pitch, and his 5-yard passes are terrible. We need to get someone who's really comfortable on the ball and it doesn't shake the ball under pressure as well. I think that's the most important thing now in the Premier League, is when you watch the Premier League, players get the ball and they have people all around them. But I was saying this on my aftermatch last night, that when Idrissa Gana Gueye gets the ball, he slows everything down and he creates his own space, and he's really good at just creating angles. And I watch James Garner, watch the Corey, and far too many times they get the ball, and because people get on them so quickly, they want to get rid of it, and they just give it away, and you're back where you started again. And if we could just find, I know it's difficult because they cost a lot of money, but
some of them don't though. If you can get players in Europe whose natural game is to keep the football,
well that's it.
We haven't got that.
You see it all the time where kind of like teams look at areas they need to improve. They'll bring in a couple of what they perceive as upgrades, and maybe those players take that team to the next level, slightly move them higher up quality across the board. And the players that are still there from the previous regime or have been there for a while, some of them get left behind. They're not good enough for this new level that this team's at. But some of them get dragged up. And actually, if you surround them by, if we had a midfielder who could take the ball under pressure, control the game, dictate the pace, you're looking at other players around them who perhaps would find themselves a little bit more confidence, and other players who we know are good, players like Njai, who then have more space to flourish, and then you just get control of the games a little bit more, because giving the ball away, it's the worst thing in football, because not only are you now not in possession, they've got the ball and you're just inviting them back on again. And when you're at a place like Anfield, you need little 45-second periods where you've just got the ball. That's all. Just to kind of break up their momentum.
Well, I was just going to say, then the other side of that though as well is, and you're absolutely right, Sam, if you can buy like a couple of wingers, because I was just thinking of Forest there, and I was thinking, well, no, they haven't really bought players who've dragged them up, but what they've done is their midfielders have outballs all the time, whether it be Chris Wood up front or whether it's the two wide men, and that's how they've got away with it. It's like their players now probably look so much better because all they've got to do is hit that channel all the time, and they know this pace because defenders back off. I mean, the goal he scored against United, I just couldn't stop laughing at how ridiculous it was that no player went near Elanga. And it's like, all you got to do is done, but they're so terrified of pace, everyone is. And we played the ball wide, and Jack Harrison is not going to get anywhere near it. And last night, I'm not even sure he was playing on the other side, if I'm honest. It was
strange.
Do you know what I mean? There was no real width, was there? So unless... And then you haven't got the fullbacks bombing forward. So if you could just make some subtle changes like that, buying a bit of pace wide and saying, well, at least if we hit the channels, if Garner or someone gets the ball and he's got no ball, he can make an outball. That's where I felt sorry for Beto second half. He's not an outball player, Beto, unless you play beyond him. And I think the way Liverpool sorted in the second half was they almost went one on him and then one behind him, rather than going to having two traditional centre backs, because they knew we had nothing else but that. It's like a chaos ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's a ball that you play in behind. It's a simple ball that you bend in behind. It's just a ball to the channel. It's there for forever, and it won't go out of football. Vardy was brilliant at them runs in. Beto's really good at them runs, but that can't be the only pass you do. And that's why, you're right, Alcaraz, although I thought he did quite well last night, certainly in the first half, he was took so deep, so central, but it was the same against West Ham. He played there against West Ham, but ended up playing centrally. So I'm not sure what the plan is there, because if Mikalenko was Milos Kerkez at Bournemouth, or Luca Dean, who's raiding up and down, then you'd go, well, I understand it, because you're trying to drag the wide player in field to open up the space for him. But that was never the case, because Liverpool were making sure with Curtis Jones, who I thought had a good game for them, they were making sure that Mo Salah was out hugging the touchline to stretch us. And therefore, when Alcaraz goes inside, they've got a big open space to play in front of. It was only that Mikalenko defended Salah brilliantly, that Salah done nothing all night. But when we were in possession of the ball, it meant we couldn't get beyond them. Jack Harrison, having him on the right-hand side, doesn't do the lad any favours whatsoever. Does him no favours because he has to check back all the time onto his left foot. And therefore, we found this out against West Ham, is that when we break, everything was sort of breaking down, which meant that the only ball we did have was the ball in the channel for Beto. But Liverpool, like you just said, will have gone at half-time. Slots doesn't take a genius to go, you two lads are playing square, which means that when he makes a run, we're in trouble. So one of you mark him and the other one drop off. And obviously Van Dijk's never going to mark him because he'd just be wrestled off the ball. So we let Konate go and have that wrestling match with him, and Van Dijk dropped off like he likes to and could get on the ball. And that was what disappointed me with the subs. What Everton should have done for me with the substitutions, Decore should have been dragged off. Chimiti should have been on straight away. Brozier there as well. I'd have left Beto on. We were 1-0 down anyway. And I'd have said, listen, what we're going to do here is we're almost just, for 10 minutes at the end, we're missing midfield. We're going long. Just smash it long and get these isolating Liverpool as much as we can and almost leave your midfield three screening your back four to make sure we have bodies. But we didn't. It was sort of, we made the changes and nothing really changed. Everything still looked the same. You know what I mean? But then saying that, David Moyes will say, well, we forced a couple of corners later on and a long throw. But that ain't great because that
you're just giving me flashbacks of that last corner.
Yeah.
Pickford up, everything set. It was so bad. It was so bad, that last corner. Why would you foul the goalkeeper, or why would you even go near the goalkeeper? The goalkeeper had already flapped one.
But why didn't we do something different, though? Why didn't we sort of play a ball short, roll it back and curl it in with a bit of pace to the near post? Why is it floated in? Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit, and it's a good job the goalie got fouled, to be honest, because Liverpool broke him. He didn't have a keeper in. So it was a good... No, but you know...
We've done that before.
No, but we done it in the last one. Last year, we had everyone up and they broke and Salah made it 2-0, didn't he?
Well, it's only Arsenal on Saturday, lads.
I'm not putting honest to God.
I fancy a Saturday as well.
Zero fears whatsoever about playing them. None.
Also, the Vitsy Magic will be a Goodison, won't it?
The Big Vits. Rolling into town like a gunslinger.
Yeah, that's also part of the reason why I've got a good feeling about Saturday, because I feel like it would be quite nice to go out on a win.
It's your last one, isn't it, Dave?
Last one, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, though. I'm not really looking forward to it, if that makes any sense.
No, I won't. Yeah, I get it.
And as we said before, I just think that there will be this overriding urge to try and soak up every second and every minute that I'm there, from leaving the car to coming back to the car. Is that I think that will sort of distract from the day. But anyway, it's got to be done. But I'd be lying if I said I was massively...
Yeah.
Just moving away from footy briefly, because we're going to finish in a minute, but you went to Tip the other day and sent us a Tip photo, and I love that. I'm all for the Tip photo, and I think all of us make a pact now when we go on a Tip visit, it has to be accompanied with a photo for photographic evidence. But
Tips, yeah.
In fact, let me just say this, though. Go on. We had a guest in this week who came in to talk about...
Is she talking rubbish?
She came into... I mean, that's how I hope she's not listening, because... No, it's for the tip, because I think she does listen. No, so I'll tell you... Hang on. So I'll tell you... Right. All right. We haven't got much time. Let me get that fucking story out.
Well, stop making it sound like it wasn't a joke.
So Julie, from the Fab, right? And you'll know...
Yes, Fab.
You'll know Julie, right? Because Julie was the lady who sat behind Richard Masters... committee.
Yeah.
Remember, she sat behind him and pulled faces at him. So she was in this week to talk about the Fab, but she was messaging me. Yeah, there's the picture for anyone.
Yes, Julie.
There's Julie. She was in. That video will be out next week. She was in, but we were chatting. I'd never met her before. We were chatting, and she said, "Going to come in, talk about this." And then at the end, she just sent another supplementary message, and she went, "Sorry, meant to say you can ask me anything except about council tips." So, but I don't know whether that means she listens all the time or she works
for the county in charge of council.
I don't know. And I didn't ask her while she was here, because it was all
great perspective.
It's all official business. But we need to get onto that again.
To be investigated.
Job for you. This is PI stuff.
What am I going to do? Follow around, check where she goes.
PPI, surely.
Yeah, but there you go. So either she's an Amazon.
Charge 90 million for something that doesn't exist. And take us.
I've got tariffs.
Oh, it's
Got tariffs. That's in the news. Go on.
Oh, go on. What were you at the tip?
Oh, we're having a massive. Oh my God, we're having a massive clear out. Oh, it's like.
Have you won the little battle to get rid of some population?
No, I mean, there's
no.
Me missus. No, it's not a battle. It's me missus has just gone. Right, there's too much stuff.
Brilliant.
It was almost like there was too much stuff. I can't even. I don't know where to start. But she's been chipping up. She had a week off last, and you know what? Fair play to her. She spent the whole of a week off doing it, and she should know it. She's like, now she's sick because of all the dust and everything. But she's collected stuff for years, and we finally started to get rid of it, and she's chipped away at it brilliantly. So like going to tip was a joy.
They're both born on the same day, our missus, and they're both mad like that.
Yeah,
they were the same.
She's messaging me now. We're going to IKEA later to get some storage.
Making you do stuff. I love stuff.
Yes, future tip run that, isn't it?
Hang on. Rewind.
Go on, Dave.
Both of your respective missuses were born on the same day or have the same birthday?
They'll have the same birthday.
Same birthday. Isn't that the same thing?
No, because like as in...
He means as in...
No, they're not. They're not the same age. No. But we won't reveal any more than that.
No, but both have the same birthday, which is massively weird.
What I will say is, though, I am a toy boy, so...
And I am.
Do you know what I mean? Sanita was singing about us. She was singing about us. Again,
when she was referencing Sorry Macho?
Yeah. Reference.
See, she obviously listens.
Yeah. Sanita listens, yeah.
Do they all listen?
They all listen. All those people
Jack Harrison listens.
I love Jack Harrison. I just want him to play on the left. I think he works really hard.
Unfortunately, David Moyes doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
If anyone from Otterspool Tips listening,
go on.
Even if it's from the Fab, can I request that they can open some kind of paint?
Sam, I'm gonna.
No, you can't drop paint.
Why can't you go to Green Lane? Come on.
Is that the old Swan one?
Yeah. Come on,
Sam. It's not. I go to the gym up by the tip, so it makes sense. I go to the tip, go to the gym, feel.
Have a day out,
Sam. You cannot go to the gym with a car full of tip stuff because
what happens first? What happens first?
Are you getting dust on you before you're going to work out?
Is it
to me? Isn't
is it tip or gym first?
It's normally tip then gym.
But then you.
No, Sam. That's not Sam. I back you a lot, but I ain't backing it on this one, mate.
That's not healthy.
You have got that wrong.
That's healthy.
Dave, jump in here. He's wrong there, isn't he?
He is wrong because things have to happen in an order. I was just thinking about your paint dilemma that surely I can do what certain other people might do, which is just to hide it in the middle of a general household bag. You get like a bin bag, which is miscellaneous stuff. Right, put some just general stuff, but hide the paint in the middle of it.
We'd never do this. This is just what other people do.
Some other people do it.
Yeah.
If that was your persuasion,
I tell you what,
I would never do that, but it's interesting to know.
Sam, Harold Swan, Harold Swan, I'm sure they have a paint thing.
They do. They have a section for every section.
Yeah.
They have a section.
But it's not really a battle. It's like a battle. It's people.
They'll take it, Sam. Just roll Harold down. Tell them, Sam. Come on.
Just leave it.
It can't be that. If me and you share the same Aldi, Sam, then why can't we share the same
Which Aldi is it?
In Gatacre.
Oh, the middle class one.
The one we go.
The one that I go on the way home.
Yeah.
But that's not my home Aldi. That is the Aldi. My away Aldi.
That's the one I go to.
If I'm dropping paint off at the tip, should I go to the gym before or after the paint drop?
No, I don't think you should go to the gym at all. I think you should make a day of it. Commit yourself to the tip.
Make a day, okay.
Commit yourself to kids. Leave you the rest of your schedule.
No, don't take the kids because that'll make your car more full. Yeah, you want to maximise.
Show them a good time.
You got to have the seats down for a tip run.
That's it.
No room for children.
No
room for another half. But that another half is acceptable provided they sit in the front seat.
I mean, the one thing, we will finish in a minute, but this is amazing. The one thing about the tip is you've got to, when I get in the car and put all the stuff in.
How animated we all are.
Amazing, right? When you get, we've just talked about a rubbish result last night. This all fits in. You know, Jack Harrison's top notch going to tip with me next. But
please,
when you get in the car, it makes me appreciate van drivers.
Yeah.
Because your car's packed and I have to use my wing mirrors because mirror in the central, rear view mirror, Waste of time. Unless you're Sam Avery, apparently, who puts 2 tins of paint in his car, takes his kids and his missus, and thinks that's a tip run. That's not a tip run, my friend.
I put Summer Holiday by Cliff Richard on while I was driving there as well.
Sam Avery's the only man who mixes Lycra with hot garbage.
Yeah, what's he doing? What is he doing?
Second name for a band.
That's it, Lycra and hot garbage. They were a big synth band in the 80s. Fantastic.
On Tuesday.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. What I was going to say is we had such a clear out, and we are going to finish now, is that we even got rid of, like, old mugs, like Easter egg.
They were staple.
The mugs you got with the Easter egg.
I've still got one that is used in other cream.
No, I refused to give up my Buffy the Vampire Slayer mug, though. Don't care how old it is. I refuse to give it up. That's all I'm saying.
Would you give Buffy up?
No, never give the buff up.
No, you can never.
She ain't giving me up, so...
No.
There you go. I don't know what that means.
You can't, yeah.
Those big Sports Direct mugs, that'd be like one.
I never bought one of those in the first place.
But if you had one, you could put it with rubbish. You could put quite a lot in it as almost a carrier and then give it away. Sure.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to think of these things.
Like it's in some kind of like zombie film. Yeah, the Sports Direct mug. It was the carrier. It started the whole thing.
You've got it. You never know with it. You never know.
Right, that's finished.
Right, they've got to go. They've got to go. Right.
I'll just leave you with one final.
Dave, of course.
Go on.
Right. Earlier on, I was hanging out my washing. Right, and I was hanging out my pants.
Thought Mel Gibson had turned back up. Go ahead.
I was hanging out my washing on the line outside because it's a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me that the well-known expression about airing your dirty laundry in public. Right?
Yeah.
And I thought, why on earth did that expression ever happen? Because nobody airs or hangs up their dirty laundry. They hang up their clean laundry.
Mm-hmm. But say...
Hangs their dirty laundry in public.
Yeah.
And therefore, I don't understand why that exists, and that's what I'm going to leave you with.
Let's investigate that for next week and have an explanation.
People go to the gym and the tip, and it's just, I don't know.
And that's it. I don't want those.
I'm going to have a TED talk in response to that question.
Yeah,
Dave.
absolutely. Okay. Sam, are you on tour anywhere before we go this year?
Not before we go, but later in September I am.
September.
Mid-September, go on my website, samaverycomedy.com, all the shows, and I'm keep adding new dates as well, so get on there and get some tickets. Can't wait to do that tour.
There you go.
Early to ensure disappointment.
That is the one. Dave, yeah, we'll leave that one. I was going to ask you about...
No, don't ask Dave any questions about anything else.
The jungle.
Let's go.
We'll leave that for next week.
Text me, Baz. Text.
Yeah, it's all right, no worries.
The jungle is on.
Dave's gone the jungle. Right, jungle. We're finishing. Dave's back in the news. He's on the jungle. I can't wait. Right. Take it easy. Bye. Like, subscribe, 5-star. Do all that. See you later. Bye, 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 bye.